Welcome back to Shake, Rattle and Roll fans. We're live with the First Lady of Wrestling, Missy Hyatt, and the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, the Honky Tonk Man. And Honky, how awesome is it to have Missy with us tonight?
Oh, that was. I'm surprised she kept stonewalling me and said, no, I'm not going to come on your show. I'm not coming on. But I guess 60.
You're so 60, right.
When you got 60,000 people listening to me, well, I think I'll come on. Tell us where they can find Missy Hyatt right now, if a promoter wants to book you, or if you have something that we're here to promote you.
Oh, okay. Well, they can go to my website, MissyHyatt.net, and get to me through there. And how you guys got me. Everybody can find me. If they, if they haven't searched really, they haven't really tried hard enough to find me. I'm easy to find.
Yeah, and I say that too, especially when my name gets misspelled on a plane ticket or something, and I've told them 50 times how to do it. We're not hard to find anymore. Many years ago, you know this, Missy. If you didn't give your phone number to someone, they would never find you.
Right. Oh yeah. And the way
nowadays
you moved and stuff.
Yeah. Nowadays you type in one search word and you pop up. You're on like 50,000 different pages.
Oh yeah. It's easy. Especially I know when the internet first came out, you can't be secretive because they'll put your address, your real name, everything all over the internet.
Well, and
so
I did this.
Go with it.
Right. I did this You Shoot Volume 2 that came out the other day, and it's been a big success. You and I have done some of those things together. It was a big success. But I mentioned on there that the internet has changed the way us as wrestlers have to do business because all of a sudden everything you do is on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And anything you do wrong is definitely going to make YouTube.
Yes, and it's not like it was so many years ago when Steve and I talked about it earlier, wrestling magazines versus the internet. With magazines, it took a month 6 weeks for the story to come out about you. Well, you could have been moved and gone across the country by then. And nowadays, it's like 60 seconds the story's out.
Yeah, and you can't do anything. And then it's, and I like to call because there's a lot of stuff that gets printed or not printed, but thrown up on the internet. I call it the highway of misinformation because a lot of the stuff is so not right. Like they said that I had sex with somebody, I forget who it was, someone in Orlando, and I didn't even see that person there. I was there, but I didn't even see the person who allegedly I was supposed to have sex with. I think it was Sean Waltman.
Oh,
and so yeah.
You'll have to call into Sean's show. Sean's got a great show. He's got a great show he does, too.
Does he really?
Yes, I was on it. He does.
I didn't tell him there was a rumor about me and him going around. And I was like, I wish I was hello to the guy.
I'll let you guys talk about that one. I do want to talk about books, though, because you were one of the first persons to actually go out and do one of these, what I call a real story, a real wrestling storybook, as opposed to, and I'll be perfectly honest.
To one done by the WWE?
Yeah, well, or those ones that's done where, you never mention certain names, you never mention certain places, and it's a historical fact that it did happen. At least you were honest enough to come out and say some things that, hey, people didn't want to hear it. So what?
The truth. No, they didn't want to hear it, but I said the truth, and it was my life, and maybe how I choose to remember things, I remember them a little bit different than other people because certain people, I don't remember that or whatever, and I'm just like, you know what, this is my life, it's how I choose to remember it, and I say that in the book at the beginning. So, if I didn't mention you, I'm sorry. If I did mention you, I'm sorry. Stuff like that. So.
Right,
so I had fun writing it, and I just wish I would have waited because it's been out for over 10 years, or 10 years.
Yes, it has. But you set, you're something to be proud of is you set the standards by which all these other books are just nonsense.
Oh well, thank you. Did you read my book?
Well, it's true. I mean, I was going to compare. I said Linda Hogan book versus Missy Hyatt book. Well, I can promise you Linda Hogan is only saying vindictive stuff and not really telling the whole truth.
Right. Well, you know what, though? But if Hogan would come out with one about their relationship, it's going to be different than hers. And then there could be a third person writing it, and they would have a take on it, too, because there's three sides to every story.
Absolutely. Yes, there's three sides to every story. 90% of the stuff that goes around the wrestling business is all bullshit anyway, but
Exactly. And it used to be so great because you could throw a story out there and then you'd see where you'd see how far it got around. Did you ever do that? Throw a story out there and see how far it got around?
Oh yeah. I call it throwing a hook. Throw a hook out and see. Let's see if we catch it. Let's see how far it runs.
Exactly, and it's hard to do that nowadays with the internet.
Right.
Because you can get busted.
Now, of course. Now I know you probably can't talk a lot about it. Eric Bischoff and the WCW. How was the time there?
I can tell you. I can talk anything about that. I have nothing bad to say about Eric Bischoff. Nothing bad at all. My time was up there because I wasn't dating somebody anymore, and because I broke up with that person had clout to get my contract not renewed when it was supposed to get renewed. And that's really all there was to it. And I just wanted to sue for my merch. See, I had like 20% merchandise, right?
Right.
From my hotline and my calendar. And the year before, I got a check for like $30,000. Well, the next year, the year that they fired me, they gave me a check for like $33. And I'm like, wait, there's some zeros missing. I did a calendar, all this. So I went to a lawyer really to get my money, and the lawyer is the one that said, oh, well, let's throw in all this other stuff and you can get more money. And I just listened to a lawyer and said, okay, whatever you want to do, because I was young and, not too bright, still not too bright. But, I have a habit of listening to other people, and when they tell me that I should do it, I go on what someone else says, not knowing if it's the right thing to do or not. But I have a habit of doing that.
Well, of course, Bill Eadie, who was Demolition Axe, he had a lengthy, I'm talking almost, I think this thing went 11 years with WWE and the merchandise for Demolition and all of that. And he persisted and he stayed with it, and he finally, ended up winning the case. And it's like you said, when you look at your merchandising money and you see a check that comes one year for this and the next year it's like, wait a minute, I just had...
Yeah, and my numbers were up.
Yeah,
and like my thing was the hotline. Like I got 20% of my day alone on the hotline, and I used to always get. I had the highest rating on the Sunday night because I didn't talk about matches. I talked about inside stuff, alleged inside stuff. I'd make up stuff. I was like the National Enquirer, making up stuff.
Right.
About the wrestlers and this, that, and the other. And it was the highest rated. And it's like, don't insult. They could have given me a check for like. And they even screwed me out of the year before. The $30,000 check that I got, it should have been like double that. But when we found out, when the lawyer got it. But you know what? They could have given me like $20,000. I would have never done anything because I didn't. I wouldn't have known to do it. And I always just took whatever someone said. I took it for face value that they were being honest with me, and. Believing that I should do this or I should do that, and I did it, and I never ever questioned anything, and that's what got me in trouble.
I've stayed in trouble too about that. I've always believed that. Why is there honesty is only one sided, and it's on the side of the promotion?
Yeah. Well, you know what, and it's like people have always said, "Oh, I'm hard to work with," but anytime the booker or the promotion wanted me ever to do anything. I always would do it, and I hope my phone's not going to go dead now. But no, I always would do it. There was I never said no to anything. I mean, they threw me in a water trough on live TV, and I didn't even know it was going to happen. Abdullah the Butcher did to me, crazy things that they did to me, and I had no clue. But if they would have told me to do it, I would have done it. So.
Yeah, it's one of those things where people ask me all the time, when are you going to write a book? I said, never. Oh, man, you got a heck of a story.
Why not?
I said, no one would believe it. That's why. No one would.
Yeah, but
no
you
one
could. You should write one. You should write one.
No one would believe
when you're gone,
this.
Yeah, they would.
It's such a bizarre lifestyle. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre that they say Hollywood couldn't make this up.
I know, but they believed my stuff that I had to say, and I had some pretty wild, weird stories. So they would love that. You need to do it for posterity reasons.
Well, I couldn't. It would have to. It would be more than XXX rated, you know.
So
it's not that I was one.
Say that if you're over 18, you got to be over 18 to read it.
Yeah, I suppose.
I freaking edited my book before I let my mom read it. My mom's never even read mine.
Well, you know, the thing is, here's the thing: the boys, the wrestlers. That's what we call. We have so many fans out there now that we have to explain who the boys are. The wrestlers.
Exactly.
They are so sensitive. They're so sensitive to, hey man, why did you say that about what happened 30 years ago? You got my wife all upset. She's your fourth wife, you idiot. What are you upset about?
Exactly. Listen, you know what? I have done a lot of really, really crazy things in my life. But, you know, at least one thing I can say is that I always fess up to anything I've done. Because if I'd done it and I made a mistake, yeah, I did it. Nah, I shouldn't have done it, but I did it. But I always fess up to anything I did. It's like, if someone doesn't want the truth, don't ask me because I'll end up stooging off people.
Well, that's what I tell people.
Some of the boys get really upset, but, you know.
Well, the old school order of keeping your mouth shut is not it doesn't exist anymore.
No, because I used to keep my mouth shut a lot, and I saw a lot of things that went on the road. But I didn't talk about other people's business in my book. I just talked about my business. I didn't talk about other people's business. I didn't want to get anybody in trouble. As far as I know, I didn't get anybody in trouble.
You laid the groundwork, and you set the bar so high, the standards so high now that it's like I said, I don't even bother when it says edited or WWE book or something. I don't even want to.
Yeah.
You know, it's all
because their stories like all cornbread. It's all made up.
It's not even the. In fact, they're not even doing the books anymore. I guess the books weren't selling very well.
Wrestling fans can read, you know.
Well, and that's the thing. You can't. I've always said you cannot insult someone's intelligence, no matter who they are. And,
oh yeah.
And you know, we have to know our clientele first and foremost, and you have to speak the language that they understand.
Exactly.
But it's been
I love wrestling, and I love the business. Yeah,
I know
I
you
wish I was still in it, full time.
You have a passion for the business, and that's what's missing nowadays. People ask me, why do I keep doing what I do? Well, I love what I do.
Yeah. Well, you're damn good, though, because, I've loved all your stuff.
Not as good as I once was. Anyway.
Yeah, I know what you mean by that one.
It's been
such
a pleasure. It's been such a pleasure to have you, and I enjoyed the work you and I did together, which was a long time in the making and a long time. We need to do some more of those
I've got a whole bunch of questions, so you need to tell them. I've got like 4 pages of questions for you that I could ask you. So you need to tell them at Kayfabe, or you tell them. Because I do my homework.
Shauna will be calling in a few minutes, and we'll talk about it for sure. And
okay.
It's
all right.
Missy Hyatt. How we can just find you? Just type in Missy Hyatt.
Just MissyHyatt.net.
MissyHyatt.net.
That's my website.
Fans out there, First Lady of Wrestling. That's her. She's open. She's honest.
Thank you.
Witty and funny, and you're still as lovely as ever.